So who uses it? We use it. Banks, enterprise, insurance companies, healthcare, airlines, small businesses, social medias, restaurants. Banks, why? What do they use it for? They have it on their website. If you go to few bank websites right now, let's take for example HDFC Bank. You have State Bank. All of these well-known banks out there have a chatbot as simple as they can define it, right? Just to assist or make it easy for the customer through scroll through the website, or help the customer to find the right place to find a solution for the problem, right? They reduce the time that the user spends on searching for a solution, right? Then it's like the customer just keeps on wandering around in the website, to search for solutions for his problem or solution for his queries. What he does instead is, let's take for example on the HDFC website, he just goes to the HDFC website and types his query out there. Probably, I would like to know about home loans. I have issues with my credit card statements. So what the chatbot over here does is, it just gives them a brief description, either a brief description helping them to solve the problem, or gives them a contact number, or what they otherwise do is provide you with links, the appropriate and specific links where you will or you might be able to find the solution for your problem, or uh, a response for your queries, right? Where you can go, just click on that link and read, and you might as well find your solution, right? So that's where banks come into picture. uh, Enterprise, like I in the previous slide talked about integrations. They want integrations, you know they want to connect to a lot of systems out there, all their internal systems. So enterprises over here, the same in the previous slide where I was talking about integrating with external systems. That is where enterprises come into picture. They have databases, they have backend systems that they want to query from, right? Let's take for example, they have Salesforce systems. I'm not sure how many would know about it, but Salesforce has a vast UI. You have like 10 to 15 pages for, let's take for example, a CRM system, right? So you would want to, for that, they would want to just fetch some data from the tables. For that, they have to scroll through a lot of things, right? So instead, what we do is create a chatbot, ask it as simple as, let's take for example, may I know the contact details of Akhil, and it gives you don't have to go to the Salesforce or the CRM system at the back end and scroll through who's Akhil, where is he, and things like that, and then get his contact details, right? You can fetch information from the backend systems with just one question, like asking the person next to you how their day is going, right? It's as simple as that. You don't have to scroll through and waste your time in searching for that specific line item in your database or in your CRM systems at the back end. Next comes the insurance companies. In insurance use case, it's more again the same as banks, wherein users are they come to the website and they ask few basic queries. The second thing what we can also do in insurance company is, let's take for example, over here we can add authentication in the chatbot. We can add OTP authentication that can be done in the chatbot itself, so that if someone is an existing customer, they can have special privileges based on only when they do the authentication they are allowed with those special queries. Let's take for example, I have a query about what is my sum assured or the policies that I'm related to, right? To know all those things, I obviously have to authenticate myself first or log into the insurance system first, and then insurance application first provided by the company, that is and then then only then I'll be able to ask the chatbot the details about my specific policy, right? So that is a scenario that comes into play when we are talking about insurance, wherein there is insurance backend database that is being linked to the chatbot, wherein the user is asking about his or her policy details, and they get what is let's take for example like this. The user is asking what is my sum assured, or the user is asking what is my next due date. The chatbot responds saying the due date is 24/10/2018. So, or it can also tell it's 20 24/9/2018. So it's just tomorrow. So I think it's better you fill it up, fill or bill in your policy soon, and things like that, right? And healthcare. So this is one complex, vast, difficult field where chatbots are being implemented, being tested, being POC'd. So the first place is clinical, where websites who offer healthcare related blogs, suggestions, online doctor support. That's where healthcare is chatbots are being used to you know take input from the user about their symptoms and provide them with you know responses based on. So here it's not as accurate, but it is enough, like little bit accurate, because in healthcare, to make it as accurate as a doctor takes hell lot of data, terabytes, gigabytes, not gigabytes, terabytes, and lots of terabytes, 100. So you need a lot of data to make the chatbot accurate. You need to design those complex flows, design them in your chatbot, and that becomes a very big project. And that's happening bit by bit, module by module, step by step, with POCs. So those things take time, but yeah, this is one scenario. uh, the other scenario would be directly interacting. Let's take for example, if the chatbot is unable to answer or reply to the symptoms, the chatbot itself stores that conversation, sends it to the doctor at the backend, so that he can read out what the user has said till now, or the user has shared his symptoms now, and then based on that, the doctor can respond to the patient directly, right? So those are the things that wherein healthcare comes into picture. And then we have airlines, right? So getting flight details, getting PNR numbers, getting delay, you know, flight delay details, and stuff like that. Again, backend database is interacting. The chatbot will be linked to the backend database, and the user is interacting with the chatbot to know about certain flight details, personal his or her flight details, or as in general, to know the flight cost of a specific day, to know the delay of a flight on a specific day. So those parameters can vary based on the type of questions that we expect the user to ask. Then we have small businesses, wherein which is where I was talking about Facebook Messenger, wherein so small businesses are usually e-commerce at this moment, wherein you see people selling on Amazon as a seller, or as a local seller, they can put themselves online with this chatbot, right? Wherein they can reach n number of customers. It's not There is no geographical limitation that the user has in this case. They just have to portray on their page the products that they are offering, and based on that, you create the chatbot and then publish it out there so that the users can communicate with you without having you sit at the back end to reply to their queries. They can directly interact with the chatbot to get all the responses. They can as well order things. So this is a combination. So I'll combine in this case, while I'm giving you like a combined example. So we'll be talking about small businesses, social medias, as well as restaurants. So uh, small businesses come to social media, create pages, publish posts, as well as create chatbots on social media platforms like Messenger platform, Facebook Messenger platform, Slack. Then we have Instagram. Then we have Telegram, Viper, WeChat, and the list goes on, right? And restaurant bookings. So let's take for example restaurants, banks, insurance companies, healthcare, airlines all come in onto social media, because all of those companies have a social media page. They create a chatbot for the customer so that users can enable it and ask generally repeated redundant questions to the chatbot without a human being at the back end to respond. The chatbot will be available 24/7 to answer basic user queries or complex user queries based on how the chatbot has been developed for, or developed to answer, right? So there are a lot of things or a lot of use case. You just have to explore and see and apply, or think how chatbot can solve a specific problem in a specific use case, that is. So next we have types of chatbot. Based on my little research, there are three. Different people have different perspective. So I got this from a blog, referred through 2 to 3 different blog posts and reviews, and this is what I've come up with. So what is reactive? Reactive is where I have a backend system that I've connected to at the end, and the user is actually interacting with the chatbot, right? Asking it for booking details, asking it for flight related details, asking it for order details, asking it for business details, right? It's the user is asking for questions. The scheduled one is where I was talking about promotional messages. That is where notifications come into picture. Let's take for example an e-commerce company, or an e-commerce website, or a restaurant sends in a notification. The way we get SMS notifications, the way we get email notifications, the chatbot as well can send you notifications based on the scheduled time. News feeds that we get from Times of India, uh, you know or Deccan Herald or Hindustan Times. So they, I think one or two of them have chatbots. What they do is they send you notifications through chatbots saying, showing you some important news that you are interested in, right? So those things do happen. Then reminders. Let's take for example, I just created a reminder chatbot that has to remind me of a specific thing on a specific day, at a specific time, right? So that's where scheduled comes into picture. Next we have predictive. For predictive we call conversational AI. So this is a term that you should be familiar with. You should Google about it, you should read more about it, because this is an important word that you might hear, you might start hearing about soon. Conversational AI is where we are talking about free format, This is where we talk about working with TensorFlow firsthand, wherein you pull in a lot of data for the chatbot to work on, to understand what the user is asking without you giving restrictions or predefining some constants, right? So you're directly or basically trying to create an artificial intelligent chatbot which can answer user queries irrespective of what they are asking for, right? So predictive is something where future lies, because as of now AI is still under working and not many have access to it as much as it should be. uh, it takes a lot of time to understand. Even the best of minds are still working on it, and it's gonna take time. I mean, artificial intelligence, if it was as easy as it as people seem to make it, there are a lot of things that we would have done by now. It's it's just that it takes a lot of dedication, lot of time, effort, patience to work on AI technologies, right? That's where companies like Dialogflow come into picture and save the day, right? I mean, I'm you can say I'm marketing for them, but that is the fact. It's like they make possible for developers like us to work on a partial bit of AI, a restrictive, a set of AI component where we are able to, develop chatbots. Otherwise, it takes a lot of effort and time to build a chatbot from scratch using any such platforms like like TensorFlow. Okay. So I mean, yeah, at least that's what my perspective is, because I've heard, I've read, and I've been informed. If you guys liked the video, if you have any queries related to chatbots, if you want me to improve my video content, please let me know. As I recently started with it again. I just want to know, your views on the presentation or the video that I just created. Right, I'll be waiting for your responses. Thank you guys. Have a nice day. Bye.